Lorenz, love niya mo si Faith.
Of course.
So man siya nga, dili man siya babae.
Yeah. I only like trans women.
Wow, how's that for casual dinner table conversation the very first time you meet the family? Loren's skipping the small talk and diving straight into his niche sexual preferences. But while Faith's family seem intrigued and welcoming of Loren for now, will that still be the same when they find out how he's actually treated Faith?
Kibaw ka ng unsay sakit sa takirub, ana ba? Nalagi siya oloch.
The illness of the whores has such an old-fashioned ring to it, doesn't it? And it's really no surprise that both of Faith's sisters look adequately horrified. But before we dive into the illnesses and the reactions, let's rewind to the start. So we join Loren and Faith as they're going back to her home to meet her family. And it seems like that final bit of money that Loren told us he was waiting to come through finally has. Because he's back to acting the big shot, splashing the cash at the Filipino market.
Does your family use wood when they cook it?
Yeah.
And then one wood?
Kini.
No, then I have enough, right?
Yeah, it's enough.
Oh, okay.
That's probably a bit of a warning sign to slow down with your spending. But even though he doesn't know if he has enough money to purchase the wood, he probably can't help himself. I mean, it's not every day that he gets to pull out a big wad of cash. He's probably never felt this rich. Now, after finishing off their shopping, the couple head to Faith's family home. And it blows my mind that Loren has chosen this outfit to meet the family. The guy looks like a clown.
So this is my mom.
Yeah.
This is Loren.
Hi, Lorenz.
Hello.
And this is Abigail. And this is my two brothers. They are twins.
Is it just me, or does anyone else hate the accent that Loren puts on when he's talking to Filipino people?
Hello.
It comes across as kind of insulting, doesn't it? Now, as Faith goes around introducing Loren to all of her family, she reveals that her oldest sibling is also transgender. So if there's anyone else in the world who might understand what Faith is going through right now, it's her. But we'll get to that shortly. And while Faith sticks to her word, she introduces Loren as just a friend. It's pretty clear that her family don't believe her. They're not stupid. This is the first man that Faith has ever brought home, and they're pretty sure there's more to it than just friendship.
Kung kahoy na yang gidamo, ito regalo sa inyo.
Salamat, Lorenz.
Yeah.
Guwapo, Lorenz.
Do you know what guapo means?
Yeah.
What?
This white man.
No.
No?
Guapo is handsome.
Oh.
Now, while they might not be buying the whole he's just a friend thing, there's a real concern here that Faith's family appear to be getting ahead of themselves. They're jumping to dangerous conclusions. They're seeing this white American foreigner rock up to their home, and they're thinking that Faith and by proxy they are now free of a life of hardship. They think they've won the jackpot, so it's no wonder that under that context they've instantly approved of the guy. But the problem is, little do they know, Loren's only gonna increase the hardship in Faith's life.
Presence na shock din nga. Wala na shock din nag-oyab na sina.
Tano na din iyang nabitbit.
Mga nata.
Oh, girls, Loren is not the catch that you think he is. They've been instantly wowed at the fact that he's American. They're wowed by his passport, but scratch the surface and you'll know he's got gonorrhea, he's a cheat, he's jobless, homeless, has no money, and has the etiquette and manners of a raccoon rummaging for a dumpster at midnight. And that's doing raccoons a disservice.
Faith's mom, she made like a mixed vegetable. I would have chosen like slightly different flavors.
And despite how he's wolfing down the food like a Neanderthal, the funny thing is he has the audacity to insult Faith's mum's cooking. I would have chosen slightly different flavours, says Gordon Ramsay over here, the guy that cooks shrimp in his bathroom. Not even his bathroom, in his friend's bathroom. Yeah, like he's now the expert on Filipino cooking. But rather than taking this as the red flag that it should be, Faith's family seem all too happy to turn a blind eye. They're happy to overlook it. Why? Well, because they're convinced that there's more to this than meets the eye. Faith wouldn't have brought him here to meet us if it wasn't serious, they're no doubt thinking.
Sa inyong relasyon, inyong status?
For friends.
Yeah.
Ginahanap ko nga magkaila pa jud mig maayo.
Faith's sister asks her, how do you feel about him? To which Faith once again reiterates, we're just friends. It's good, it's a positive sign that even under pressure, even whilst being interrogated, she's sticking to her guns. Like, I've got to admit, I was worried that she'd immediately forgive Loren for all the crap he's pulled. But it's clear that she hasn't. She's taking her sweet time to forgive him. And naturally, this has left her family with questions.
Loren, love niya mo si Faith.
Of course.
Unsa man siya nga, dili man siya babae.
Yeah. I only like trans women.
All round, on both sides, this is a wild conversation to be having just minutes after first meeting. I guess if you're looking at it from a positive perspective, it's good to know that Faith's family seem open to honest conversation. There's definitely no subtlety here. They're the ones that have bluntly stated that Faith is not a girl. Again, I find it interesting how a mother who has 2 trans daughters seemingly doesn't accept them as girls. And yet, they all seem so curious and shocked by the news that trans is all that Loren wants. They can't quite understand it.
No regular women, no boys, only trans women.
Okay ra niya nga mo lagi pangita nga di siya ginahanap straight nga babae.
Even Faith's trans sister looks shocked by what Loren is saying, and you've got to imagine that's probably because of her own experiences. Her love life on a small Filipino island has been non-existent, but it also comes back to their upbringing. You see, Faith tells us that even as a child, her mum would always warn her not to get into relationships. Men don't want transgender women is the message that's been drilled into their heads. So to now see Loren, a man who's so loud and proud about his love for transgender women, it seems to take her aback in a good way. It seems to make her warm to him, trust him even.
You love Faith as your wife someday?
She has to say yes.
For me, it's yes.
Yes, as in you approve, or yes, as in you'll step in and marry him? I think much like Faith, Baya's bar has been lowered to the floor. It's on the floor because of her situation. So just by virtue of the fact that Loren is willing to marry a trans woman, in their eyes, all of their eyes, that magically gives him the seal of approval. That makes him good enough.
My family all seem to be happy and charmed by Loren, but they don't know what's really going on.
When will you decide we'll bend together?
No, Bea, no, don't rush it. You don't know the whole story yet. And that is exactly what Faith tells her. In Filipino, in their native tongue, so that Loren doesn't understand. Faith says she'll explain everything when they're alone. She'll explain why it is that she's been acting so weird. But for right now, she says, I don't want to ruin the good vibes at the dinner table. So when we join them the next day, as Chef Loren is sampling the culinary delights, Faith finally has the opportunity to catch up with her sisters.
I'm sure when she talks to her sisters, she's gonna tell them that I was sleeping with other women and got gonorrhea. And I don't know how they're gonna react to that.
It's the way this guy smiles. Honestly, it's the creepy smile on his face when he says stuff like, I cheated and got gonorrhea, that has serial killer vibes written all over it. Faith has told us numerous times how important her family's opinion is for her. So the truth is, this could well be a make or break conversation. And when her sisters ask Faith why she's calling Loren just a friend, Faith prefaces the conversation by admitting she's embarrassed even to admit this.
Ibaw ka nang unsay sakit sa takirub, ana ba? Nalagi siya oloch.
Oops, there go any plans that Bea may have had of snagging Loren for herself. Now, Faith tells her sisters that the reason their relationship has gone back to just being friends is because Loren has been unfaithful throughout the entire relationship. She explains that while he may have been apologetic about it, he has been trying to make it up to her. She's still not sure how she feels about it.
Sweet man siya nako. Sweet, generous, kind, respectful, nanatanan. So, na lang ko just trust issue. So, magdaduha ko kay, di ba ako ready masakitan.
Take as long as you need, Faith. The longer the better. Eventually, his visa will run out. He has to leave. You will be free. Delay, delay, delay. It's a good strategy. So, how will her sisters react to this big news? I mean, you'd think that learning her partner has cheated on her for over half a year would sway their opinion, wouldn't you? Well, not quite. You see, while her younger sister is outraged on Faith's behalf, her older sister, well, not so much. Unbelievably, she tells Faith just to forgive and forget.
Ito ni sinood lang. Kung ako sa sitwasyon na may ibog na ko nga foreigner, like Lawrence, in behalf of Lawrence, mukuan ko eh.
Nako, manghuna-huna sa ko.
Di mo ko kabayot, good, babay mo ka mo nga.
Look, the inference here is that Faith should forgive and forget because, frankly, she won't do any better. But, I'm sorry, I don't agree with that advice. Now, that's not to say that I don't understand where she's coming from. Like, I get that their upbringing, their self-confidence, dating as a trans person in the Philippines, like, it's all been very difficult for them. Like, I get that. But I just don't agree with Bea's take what you can get mentality. She doesn't appear to be looking out for her sister's best interests. She doesn't seem in the slightest bit concerned that Faith might get hurt again.
Sa ako sa ino, kay parehaman ta, transwoman, o anak. Lisod ba pangita ang laki mahigog mas ato, nakagusto sa ato, seryoso sa ato.
She tells Faith that if he really is what you said he was earlier, if he really is sweet, generous, kind and respectful, then that should be enough. Forgive him. After all, she says, he's flown from the States to be here. Surely that counts for something. But the problem is none of these women, not even Faith, realises that whether or not Faith was in his life, Loren's plan has always been to move to a cheaper country, a country where his money, his lack of money, stretches much further. Yeah, he is not the foreigner that these girls want.
Usa po na ako sa damo ko nga, dili jud ko Pilipino ako gipangita. Dili biya ta girl, remember?
So, di ta girl, natay karapatan na to be loved.
Yes, absolutely. Faith is bang on the money here. Everyone deserves the right to love. Real love, not just settle for it love. It really is reassuring to hear Faith say this. She's a badass, isn't she? She really is a badass. Don't forget, this is a girl who, at age just 13, moved to Manila by herself to support her entire family. She is strong. She is resilient. But it seems Bea isn't quite the same. Sadly, she doesn't have the same backbone, the same self-respect that Faith has.
So kaya nakahibaw ko nga si Lawrence di ay na siya'y babae nga sa US. Murag naikuan ba? Murag medyo ano pa lang, nagduduha ana.
Bea's justification for this stance is, she says, we're only human, we all make mistakes. But the problem is, Loren has made the same mistake over and over again. This isn't a lapse of judgment, this isn't a guy who's just cheated the one time. This is a guy who had such little regard for the woman he claims he loves, that he's repeatedly cheated over the course of half a year. And need I remind you, although he's suddenly gone very quiet about this is also the same guy who previously told us he wants an open marriage. He wants other people to sleep with even after marrying her. Like, granted, Bea might not know the full extent, she might not know his whole character, but even from the little that she does know and has heard, that should be more than enough to have her alarm bells ringing. She really shouldn't be encouraging her little sister to accept a man like that. And thankfully, Faith knows that she deserves better.
I understand what Bea is saying, but I still want to be respected and loved. I don't want to settle with someone who cheats just because I am trans.
Yes, Faith, hold that head up high. Surely, it's better to be single than date or, heaven forbid, marry a man like Loren. Can you imagine? Can you imagine spending the rest of your days paying his bills and worrying that he's cheating on you? Should she have to settle for that just because she's trans? Well, the answer to that is an emphatic no. No, she shouldn't.